Well, welcome everybody. I actually didn't hit the share screen button first, so I will do that now. All right, and welcome to Captioning Videos with Panopto and 3Play, the tools we use here at Highline. So this is part of what I'm doing for Global Accessibility Awareness today, which is today. Global Accessibility Awareness Day is a day just when those of us who are involved in this kind of stuff encourage people to learn a little bit more about accessibility, think about it, talk about it, just see what they can do. There's events going on all over the place. These presentations are what I'm doing. So welcome and thanks for showing up. Or if you watch this video later, thanks for watching this video. Okay, so for anyone who hasn't met me already, my name is Michael Hanscom. I'm our program manager for accessible technology. So my role here at Highline is to support faculty, staff, and students in making information accessible to people with disabilities, or as far as students go, making sure they can access the information that the college produces. And just on a personal level, I'm a science fiction geek and a Star Trek fan, which if you're looking at my video, you may notice behind me. I'm very subtle about these things. So why do we talk about this? As far as captions, a lot of us just think about captions for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, but they're helpful for a wide range of people beyond that. Oh, I'm seeing the chat and I did not. Aha, excellent, yes. Okay, now I've got that window open. Okay, so yes, so captions are helpful for a wide range of people. People who are deaf or hard of hearing, of course, but also people with auditory processing disorders, ADHD. English language learners get a lot of value out of subtitles. Anybody who's watching in noisy or quiet environments. This could be anybody from someone watching on a bus on their way to or from school. Kids in the background playing, lying in bed next to a spouse or partner who is trying to sleep. All sorts of situations where captions come in really handy, or just personal preference. Yeah, videos at reference desk, absolutely. So assumedly you're here because, you know, some of this, but just so a few quick statistics, just because some of these even surprised me when I came across them. These are all more or less recent, but over 5% of the world's population has hearing loss, but 80% of people who use captions aren't deaf or hard of hearing. According to recent surveys, about half of viewers usually watch videos with the sound off. 80% of people are more likely to finish a video if the video has captions. About a third of people will regularly use captions in a public setting, and over half of students in one survey use captions as a learning aid. So there are just tons of reasons why captions come in handy for people and are important to have on videos and video presentations. So when posting videos for classes or for public consumption, there are three basic, three distribution methods that we see most commonly here at Highline. Panopto is the tool that we use that is added onto Canvas. And so that's what we really recommend for class instructional videos, or in on-campus training sites, anything like that. AI captions automatically, artificial intelligence generated captions are automatically applied to videos that are uploaded to Panopto. And then optionally professional captions can be applied if the AI captions aren't good enough. YouTube works really well for publicly accessible videos. Again, AI captions are automatically generated if the video doesn't have them already. And there actually are ways to upload captions to YouTube also. It's a slightly different process than Panopto. I'm not going to be going over that in this presentation, but it can be done with YouTube also. We also know situations where people will toss a video on a Google Drive because we are a Google Drive equipped campus. But we really don't recommend this in large part because there is no automatic captioning. And so if you want captions on video on Google Drive, it technically can be done, but it's much more difficult. You basically have to create the captions yourself and find a way to apply them. So Google Drive, technically it works for serving video, but but without a lot of extra work, it's not very accessible as far as captions go. And so we don't recommend that as an approach. Yes, YouTube captions don't do well with accents. And actually, you led me right into my next slide, so that's great. So the differences between AI captions and professional captions. So as I said, both Panopto and YouTube will automatically create captions, but they are artificial intelligence generated, and they're getting better. They're actually, I mean, I've been really impressed by a lot of them recently, especially when it comes to Panopto and some other services. But they're not going to be 100% accurate. And errors are definitely more likely with strong non-English accents, with non-English words and names, and in disciplines that use specialized terminology in a lot of STEM fields. One of the examples that I pull out a lot is in chemistry. Sometimes when you're dealing with a chemical formula, the difference between an A and an O could be the difference between a solution that works and an explosion. So these are important, but make sure you have the right word there. And so professional captions are done by humans, actual real people sitting behind real keyboards, I assume. And they're going to, professional captions will generally be much more accurate, will be much more accurate than than AI generated captions are. So how good is good? By the way, I forgot to say this earlier. Sorry about that. But if you do have questions or comments, feel free to pop them in the chat. As some of you have seen, I'm paying attention to that and responding. And I'll do my best to respond as I go along. And also, this presentation will be downloadable when I'm done here. There will be a QR code, a bit.ly link on the last slide to allow you to download it. And I'll also email that link out afterwards once we're done with this. So you will have access to the full presentation document. So when you see the occasional link in here, it's okay that your screen's not clickable right now. You'll be able to click through the full presentation if you download it later. So should have said that earlier, but at least I got it in now. Anyway, so how good is good enough? So when we're looking at captions, the college's target for captions is what we're calling no material errors, which basically just means the caption should be accurate enough that if you do have students who rely on them for the information, they should not be losing points on assignments, quizzes, or tests due to errors in the captions. So that's the standard we're looking for. So for many classes, it's entirely possible that AI-generated captions may actually meet this target. If the information is there, if the concepts are getting through, it may be fine. But of course, other classes, that may not be the case. So if you do use AI captions, we strongly recommend reviewing them to make sure that they actually are acceptable. And then if AI captions are not acceptable, you can edit them yourself, or you can send the video out and request professional captioning. Okay, Mondi says, I tried to make edits to the Panopto video I make for faculty, but I know there's a lot of room for improvement. Sure, absolutely. And editing captions is, you kind of get used to it over time. I've been doing it just for my own personal reasons for a long time. So I have a tendency to think, oh, it's really easy. You just do it. I know that's not really the case for everybody. So it gets a little easier with practice, and there are just ways we can do it to make it a little bit easier. So hopefully, well, some of this will help. So just a quick overview of Panopto. This isn't a presentation on Panopto broadly, just kind of focusing on the captions, but generally, Panopto is Highline's preferred video platform, especially as I mentioned earlier for in-class or instructional training videos. So you can record videos directly within Panopto. They have a standalone application you can use on your computer, or you can upload videos you've recorded elsewhere. I know a lot of people who will use Zoom to record to their computer and then upload that into Panopto. So and there's, of course, many other ways you can do it. If you're new to the college, or if you're new to Panopto, there are some links here. As I said, you'll be able to click on them if you download this presentation later. There's a Making Videos with Panopto page in the Remote Teaching Canvas training course. There's a Panopto orientation. There's a lot of other information on Panopto in general. But again, I'm going to focus mainly on the captioning process here. And then as of October 2020, that is when we flipped the switch, And all videos uploaded to Panopto will get the automatic captions. Before October 2020, it was an optional process. And so if any faculty or staff, or if any of you have videos that you uploaded to Panopto before October 2020, they may not have captions unless you had requested them. But anything from October 2020 on will at least have the AI generated captions. So as I mentioned, because of the propensity for errors, we do recommend reviewing AI-generated captions. So it's fairly easy to do. Once you're in Panopto and you have a list of videos, you just click on the video thumbnail to open the basic video player. Once the player is open, you'll see a captions tab on the left-hand side. Click on that, and the captions will open up to the left of the video. Of course, you can also watch through the video, but that takes as much time as the video takes. So you can just load all the captions on the left-hand side. And that's just a really quick way to take a quick look, scroll through them, look for anything that looks weird. Is it weird enough to be concerned about? That's what you're going to want to look out for. So at this point, you can just read through the captions for the entire video. If there are no major errors that cause any problems, you're set. But if you do see errors that need to be corrected, then you've got a few options. You can either, if there are a lot of errors and it would just take too much time to correct, you can request that the video be sent out for professional captioning, or you can go in if you think there are few enough that you can do it on your own, you can make the edits yourself. And there are actually a couple different ways to do that I'll go over. One may be easier than the other, depending on the situation. Is there a cost to the campus? Yes, there is a cost to the campus. We have a partnership with a company called 3Play Media that does the captioning for us. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but basically, and I'll touch on this again later, but as a quick overview, when videos are sent out for professional captioning, you have a choice of how quickly you would like to do it. It ranges from 8-hour turnaround to 10-day turnaround. The longer the turnaround time you ask for, the less expensive it is for Highline. As it is, though, I've been told a few times over the past few weeks that our captioning budget for this year has not been used nearly as much as we thought it has. So if within the next month or so you have stuff you need to get captioned and you'd like professional captions, this is a good time to do it because we've got a lot of space in our budget. And of course, the more gets spent this year, the more likely we'll be to get that money next year, we think. So, and what I'm saying is, it's worth doing. It's worth doing now, and then we have a budget. So I'm now fumbling, and I'm just going to go on to the next slide. So Caption Hub is a Canvas course that is the bridge between Highline College and 3Play Media. So there's a Caption Hub Canvas course. Most of the course is instructions for how to request captions for videos you've uploaded to Panopto or for YouTube, or even for third-party YouTube videos. I'm not going to cover that here because we're looking at captions for your own videos, but it actually is possible to ask for captions for YouTube videos from someone else that are not already captioned. If that's something that you need to know about, feel free to either go through that Caption Hub Canvas course or get a hold of me and I can work with you on that. The Caption Hub Canvas course also links to the actual Caption Hub tool where the work is done. And Caption Hub is not open to everybody by default because not everybody uses video for their courses or the training materials. So if you don't already have access to it and you'd like it, you can just email our EdTech department at et@highline.edu to ask for access, and they'll get you set up with that. So if you do want to request professional captions, first thing you need to do is to, again, go back into Panopto, find the video, and then use the share button to open the sharing options and set access to either public or public unlisted. And this is simply because we're sending the video out to somebody else to do the captioning, so they need to have access to be able to watch it. One thing to keep in mind is that if you do this, if you're teaching a course or creating training materials that may have sensitive material in them, you will want to remember to come back and change the share settings back to something more restricted once the captioning is done. I heard about a situation where someone in a human sexuality class, all of a sudden, ages later, started getting strange comments from random people on some of the class materials, and we think it was just because it was left to public. So if you have sensitive materials, once you have the captions done, try to remember to come back and set the permissions back to something more restricted. In any case, once your video is public, in that same shared dialog, there's a button at the bottom to copy the link. It'll just copy the URL address for that video. And then you go into the Caption Hub Canvas course, open Caption Hub from the link at the top of the sidebar menu. This will open the Caption Hub page. And it appears I've just noticing I've skipped a step. After you open the Caption Hub page, there's going to be a button that says Create New Request. So I've got a slide to update here. So start by clicking the New Request slide, and then one button, and then once that's open, you can paste the URL that you just copied into the box there and hit load. So that'll load that video address into Caption Hub. You'll see the basic information show up underneath. Once that's done, scroll down a little bit on the page. I'll zoom into this screenshot in just a moment. Underneath is a series of questions we ask, or Caption Hub asks, that gives a little bit more information about the video and how it's being used. You'll want to fill all that out and then hit click Create Request at the bottom. So let's just zoom into that and take a closer look at these questions. So we start with just, I own the video, or I'm not the owner. Most of the time, these are videos that you're probably creating yourself. So yes, I own this video. Check those that apply. Is this being used instructionally? Are you going to use it for multiple terms? Is this for a specific disability accommodation? That is, are you just doing this to make sure it's captioned? Or is this because a student has specifically requested, I need captions? And then there's an option for a WA45 course list. If you click on where it says course list, it'll give you a list of the WA45 courses that apply to this. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure what that is. I didn't have time to look that up beforehand. But basically all of these can affect how much we get billed. So click the ones that are most likely. There's the turnaround time option. As I said, it goes anywhere from 8 hours to 10 days. To its right is the license, which gives you a few options from fully restricted and then a number of different Creative Commons licenses, which if you're familiar with those, it's like copyright, only it allows various types and levels of sharing if the video is distributable beyond campus. Group just stays at default. The department course ID, that's fairly self-explanatory if you're faculty. If you're staff and doing this like I am, I just put in accessible technology for the department. Glossary comes in really handy. If you're in a field or if you're doing something where there are a lot of technical terms or commonly misspelled words, chemical formulas, artists' names, foreign terms, anything that could easily or often is easily misinterpreted, you can put those into this box. That then gets sent to the captioner to make sure that as they're listening to it, they're using the right terms when they're building the captions. And then at the end is just a note to college administrator if there's any other information you think is relevant for us to know when we're reviewing these and sending them out. That's just to talk to us. In any case, once all that is filled out, you hit the Create Request button and off it goes to 3Play Media. And if that's your only captioning request, you're done. If you do have multiple videos, then all you need to do is hit the Create New Request button again and go through the same process for each video. So then it'll go out. Let's see. Aha, I was just given a link to the Washington 45. Thank you, Mandy. I will take a closer look at that later. And then the next time I do this presentation, I'll sound more like what I'm talking about. So applying the captions. So you've sent the captions out. They'll sit there for a while, 8 hours, 10 days. And then once they're ready, you'll get an email. It'll actually come from SBCTC. but it'll have the subject line, whatever the name of the video is, Captioning Ready, and it'll include a link that'll just drop you right into Caption Hub. So once you open up Caption Hub, as in the screenshot, you'll see the video listed. It'll be highlighted, but in the top right, you'll see a little bright green finished button that lets you just to confirm that the captions have been completed. Oops, I clicked away, so I need to do this. So to add the captions to the video, now all you should need to do is hit the button that says upload to Panopto. And at that point, in technical terms, magic happens, and the captions are applied to your video. Now, full disclosure, the first time I was trying this, as I was working my way through, well, not the first time, the last time I was trying this, as I was creating the screenshots for this presentation, it didn't work. But this is good, because then I can tell you what to do when that happens. So if there is an error, if something goes wrong at some point, and Panopto and 3Play and Caption Hub cannot talk to each other, it'll come up with just an error uploading message next to the upload to Panopto button. And if that happens, it's an easy fix. To the right of the upload to Panopto button is a download button that just says captions. It's the blue one. If you click on that, and then just choose that very first option, the SRT file, and that will download the captions as a text file to your computer. It's a plain text file. You can actually open it in any text editor, Word or Notepad. It just uses the SRT extension. It's a subtitle format. So that'll download to your computer. At that point, you can go back to your video in Panopto, go to the settings, and then go to the captions tab in the settings. And you'll see at the top, it'll say, it'll list the available captions, and it'll say English United States. And those are the automatic captions that have been applied. If you click the little triangle to open up all the rest of the details, you'll see an option to delete captions. So go ahead and click that and just get rid of the automated captions that have been applied. Confirm the deletion. Then a little bit below that, in that same screen, there's an option to upload captions. Click the Choose File button, select that SRT file you just downloaded, click Upload Captions, and just a few seconds later, Panopto will process, and the edited captions will have been applied to your video. So in theory, magic happens, and it's a one-click process to get them applied. But if that doesn't happen, it's fairly simple to download the finished captions and then upload and apply them yourself. You can also edit the captions yourself within Panopto. Panopto has a built-in editing interface. It's all done through the web browser. So here, go to the video in Panopto, and go to the edit screen, the middle button of the buttons that appear as you mouse over. When the editing page opens, click on the Captions tab on the left-hand side, and you'll have a screen that looks very much like the screen I showed earlier when you were reviewing captions, but this time you have full access to edit. You can go in, you can click on line by line, go through, and work your way in through and make any changes that need to be made. So you can just step through your captions line by line, making corrections as you go. If you do need to review what exactly you said, you can use the play pause button underneath the video player window to listen to that section. That will automatically update as you're going line by line. And it's fairly simple to go through and correct your captions that way. And this is just a quick screenshot, a couple of screenshots showing a short little demonstration video I was working on. And it's just showing some of the differences, some of the edits I made as I was working on this. The yellow highlighting on the corrected screenshot does not show up in the interface. I added that to make things more clear. But you can see some of the slight errors that were made. Capitalizing Lucky Soul, and instead of @3Play Media, it came as AD3Play Media. Also spelled 3 instead of, the way the corporate name is spelled with the number 3, little things like that. Some capitalization. One that always makes me laugh, because this one actually happens kind of frequently, is misnaming Highline College as Island College. So I just went through, I corrected those, and we were fine. So once you've finished making your corrections, there's an apply button at the very top of the screen. Click that, and again, Panopto thinks for a moment, and then your captions are corrected. So obviously, it works fairly well, but it is a little tedious going line by line like that and clicking and doing all the clicking within the web interface. And you may end up in a position where, depending on the length or the length of the video or the number or type of corrections that need to be made, you may end up in a situation where the automatic captions have few enough errors that it doesn't really seem worthwhile to spend the money or to take the time, however long it takes, to go through the professional captioning process. But maybe there's enough that clicking your way through the web editor just doesn't sound like a fun way to spend your day. In that case, what I find actually much easier, and this is normally how I correct all my captions, is you can actually download them, much like we were talking about earlier with the professional captions, edit them yourself in a text editor like Word or Notepad, and then upload those corrected captions. Again, very similar to what was done earlier. So in that case, we start again by going to the settings. From the Captions tab, we open up the available captions. And then open up the details on the automatic captions that were created. And this time we want to use the download file option. That will actually download a text file. This time it comes as an actual text file instead of an SRT. I'm not exactly sure why. The contents are exactly the same. But it may just be for ease of use, because a text file will automatically open in your default text editor. On Windows, the default is Notepad. On Mac, I have my Mac configured differently, so I actually don't remember what it is. It's something similar to Notepad. But you can also open it up in Word, or basically any other word processor or text editor that handles straight text files, which all of them should do. So editing in a text editor, I find this much easier because you can work on all the captions at once in a single file. And one of the strongest things for me is that if there are repeated errors, like if you talk about Highline College a lot, and it keeps coming up as Island College, you can just use search and replace Island with Highline, and bing, you've taken care of, multiple corrections all at once. So it can really drastically speed up the process rather than having to click through the web interface. You just want to be careful not to change the index numbers or the timestamps that you can see above each line of captions. Those are necessary so that when Panopto is applying the captions, it knows the order they go in and at what times they start and stop as it's playing through the video. And again, this is very similar to the shot I showed a little bit earlier. It's just me going through and making the corrections and highlighting the corrections that I made as I was going through in the text editor. And again, the yellow highlights are not part of the interface. That's me calling them out for visibility here. And then once you're done, it's the same process as we discussed earlier. You just find your video in Panopto, open the settings, and go to the Captions tab. You will need to delete the automatic captions that are already there. Confirm that. And then once again, click under the Upload Captions section, click the Choose File button, choose the edited caption file you just worked on, hit the Upload Captions, and that's it. Your captions have been added to the video. And that covers it. That actually didn't take terribly long. I wasn't entirely sure. But just to wrap up a couple things, there are actually, if this is something that you actually weirdly, like me, kind of enjoy getting into and playing with these things, there are other tools you can use. There are some dedicated captioning editing programs. Overkill for a lot of people, but the basics of just download, play in a text editor, or use the web interface for simple corrections, that's going to be fine for most people. And if the captions aren't right and editing yourself just seems like too much trouble, that's what we have our captioning budget for. And we're happy to have more people use it because that's what it's there for. And we want to make sure that the tools are available. So this presentation is downloadable. You can snag that QR code. You can go to the bit.ly link, or of course, I will be emailing out a link later on, especially once I'll also be putting a recording up. Are there any particular questions? Are there any questions? They don't even have to be particular. They can be very specific or general. But are there any questions about captioning or any of what I've gone through? I know this was kind of a lot of information. I just wanted to step through and make sure it was available for you.
Since there's time, could you give us a live demo of Panopto?
Let's see what I can do.
I think a lot of us haven't used it before.
Sure, let me grab a new browser window, maybe just a quick moment here. Get myself logged in. This time, yes, I will. Oh. That one. So I'll zoom in on this instead of sharing the whole screen. Okay. Yep. Deb says most of the time just does the captioning within Panopto. But yeah, Caption Hub, definitely good. Okay, so what I'm going to start with is, well, while I'm here, just briefly, because there's not a lot to show really, is the, at this stage of things, is the Caption Hub course. When you do have access to it, as I said, most of the course is instructional pages. On how you can use Caption Hub. And then the link to go into the Caption Hub interface itself is here at the top of the course. Which of course is being slow to load because I'm giving a demo. And so if you had, and then there's the create new request button at the top right. So that's how you would get the process started from there. But as far as Panopto goes, I'm going to go into my test course. So dashboard. My test course. And then I have the option set up here for Panopto recordings. Again, let's see. If you don't have that, then it's in the settings. If you don't have access to the Panopto recordings in your menu, it's going to the course settings, the navigation app, and then finding the Panopto option here and dragging them up into the top section. So fairly standard if you're used to using Canvas. But within Panopto, when you open that, by default, when you go into that, it will bring you to a folder for whatever course you are working in at the time. Good, excellent. Thanks, Audra. Just Audra was mentioning that this is helpful. So there will be a default folder. You also have a my folder option, which so just as with any filing system, different folders. I didn't have any videos specifically created for the course we are in, so I've just gone back up to my folder. And then that's giving me a list of the various videos that I've created as I've been playing with options here. So at that point, as I was saying, for any of these, you can just hover over. For reviewing captions, it's just clicking on the video itself, that you get to work on during, and you get to listen to me all over again. Over on the left, there's the captions option. And then this is the easiest way just to review. You can also go directly into editing if you know you want to make you'll probably want to make some edits. But this is just the easy way to review and go line by line and skim through and see if there's anything you need to worry about or if it's good enough as it is. If you do need to make the edits, we'll go into the edit screen. For that same video. Once again, click on captions. And now I have access to edit through each of these. As you click through, again, if you want to make sure, is this really what I said? You can click on a line and then use the play button to replay that section in order to make sure I know all the steps. And just play and pause through there. There's a lot more you can do in the editor with cutting things around, but we're just, again, focusing on captions here. So if you were to make...
Michael, the part that I've never done
Yes.
is downloading and then using the text editor.
Okay.
How would I do that?
Absolutely. I'll close out of this. So we start by going into the settings for that video. Going to the captions section. And the available captions, which at this point have been corrected, but you can still download them. Opening up the captions and download the file.
Nice. I had no idea that was there.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep. And then at that point, as you can see here, it just downloaded a text file. So I will open that, and then I will need to switch my share window because, of course, I'm sharing an individual window and not the whole screen. There it is. And here we are, and this is just plain text. There's nothing fancy about it. And each line of captions gets its own line. What order does it come in? Where does it play? So this line starts playing at 1.8 seconds into the video and stops playing at 5.8 seconds into the video. And then at 6.2 seconds, the next line comes up. So it's a fairly easy, very readable format. As I said, just ignore the index number and the timestamp. Playing with those can make things get a little bit wacky. And just pay attention to the text and go through and say, okay, here's something that needs to be changed. Here's something that needs to be changed. And you can just do it all in one file, get all your corrections taken care of, save it. And now I'm going to close this out and go back to the original share. And then you're able to choose the file and then upload the captions. You do need to download the captions that are there. And this is getting a little bit more technical than I thought I'd get, but actually you can actually upload if this is something that interests you, and this might actually come in handy for things like LCAP courses or something along those lines as I think about it. But you can actually upload multiple caption files in different languages. So you see that the available captions right now are English United States. And when you upload the captions, I actually didn't touch on this because I made the assumption, which I should not have, that all captions were going to be in English. But it actually asks you what language you're uploading captions for. And you can actually you can add other language caption files so that any video could have, multiple different caption files. And then the user would be able to choose, do I want my captions in English or Mexican Spanish or Spain Spanish, German, French, any of these. And they can choose the language of the captions. Now, of course, translating, that's up to you. We don't have an automated translator that does a good job on that, but it is technically possible to upload multiple captions files. But that is why you need to delete these captions first, because there's only one entry for United States English. So if you're uploading captions that replace the ones you are there, and that is going to be the same language, you need to delete the existing US English captions before you upload new US English captions. But the process itself is fairly easy. Download, edit, choose your file, upload, and then the new captions are there.
Deb just asked a really cool question in the chat.
I accidentally closed my chat. If you record from a script, can you upload your script instead? I don't believe so, mainly because that wouldn't include the timings. In order for the captions to show at the exact show at the right time, it needs to have that timing information appear at this second, disappear at this second. Now there are third-party tools. I'm kind of brainstorming a little bit here. There are third-party tools that you might be able to use to take a script and convert it into captions. So that could, I think there are tools that would make that a possibility. But yeah, okay. Yeah, Camtasia I actually have not played with terribly much, so I didn't realize it would do that. So that's good to know. And I've actually honestly been very impressed with Panopto's automatic captions. I find them to be a lot more accurate than a lot of other systems. They've obviously been doing some really good work behind the scenes on those, and they are incredibly fast at getting them onto videos. Oh, Camtasia. Okay, yes, gotcha. In the chat, Deb was just saying don't. And Camtasia is more robust, but a big learning curve, and gave it up. So this makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, I should have just said that because it's out of context. But I used to use Camtasia, and now I just use Panopto because Camtasia's. It takes a lot to learn it, and they kept making updates, and I couldn't keep up. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
This makes sense.
Agreed, Deb. Camtasia got really hard.
Yeah, every year I was like, wait, what? Where did that go? How do you do that?
Okay. So was there anything else I could demo while we have a few more minutes? So we've got about 15 minutes left in the hour. Are there any other questions? Are there any other things you would like to see? Or would you like 15 minutes back? It sounds like you'd appreciate the 15 minutes back.
Yeah, I could always use that.
Absolutely.
But this was useful. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Absolutely. And of course, as I said, I'll be sending out a link to the presentation. So you'll have access to all the links and everything that are in there. And if there are ever any questions or anything I can help with captioning, or of course, any other aspect of accessibility in general, here, I am more than happy to help. That's why they pay me, actually. So I hope I'd be happy to help.
This is great, Michael. Thank you for this tutorial. Very helpful.
Absolutely. And thank you all for coming by. It's nice to have an audience.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording now.